Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the very first program of the Wednesday Interconnect, the program where we talk and learn things about Portugal and each other. I must apologise about my tardiness here, but I thought we were broadcasting and we weren't. So we're going to go and take two. I have some guests with me at the moment. I'm going to bring them back on the screen again because I've already talked to them once. But in real terms, we're going to introduce the first guest, who is waiting in the wings there, the marvelous Bleaches.
Hi
Hello
again.
again. Hello again. How are you?
I'm going to say it again. You did a fantastic intro. It's awesome. I think it's really, really lovely. So well done for that. That's fantastic. And you've got lots of other guests. So we don't want to hold you up too much. So go.
Yeah, I'll bring them on. I will come back to you for a little bit of information for those that don't know you. So I'll come round again, but I'll just get you all on first, okay?
Lovely.
The next guest is the wonderful and amazing Lee McGrady. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you, Gary. Very well.
And
I
now
take
we're
about
now we're actually live,
Oh,
of course,
yeah.
talking to each other.
John, one of us
observed,
knows what we're doing.
Well observed. There's a lot going on here, so forgive me if I make the odd occasional mistake because there's a lot of buttons to press. The other guest we have on screen is the most entertaining and fabulous, greatest dancer of them all, and general good egg, my brother Terence. How you doing, kid?
G'day,
Good day,
everybody. Yeah, I'm ejecting. I've been put down the running
What?
order now.
No,
Lee's was on in front of me. What? I need to write a stiff letter to somebody.
So right, okay, we've got it right now. We're all on the screen. We're all talking, and for the second time, what the program is about really is just exploring the regions of Portugal, finding about events, festas, services, things going on that we might not all hear, because this is the big problem in Portugal. By the time you've got to hear about something, it's over, and that's such a shame, because when you attend these little events and things, they are just little bits of greatness that you should see at least once. And I know the big cities have got all there's all singing, dancing, entertainment centres, bars, clubs, whatever. But some of these events can be so radically different that they are just worth seeing and worth a trip out from the city. Now, the idea kind of developed from my website, the Central Portugal Connect, where we just shared information, local services or events that are going on. And a typical example is our friend Jason with his fruit and vegetables. He does good product, he does organic stuff, and he does it well. So we share it between us. And I occurred to me that, well, while I'm doing this in our region, well, these things must be going on elsewhere. Other regions must have their festas, they must have their shows, their music, the sports events, whatever. So let's talk about that. I might want to go to somewhere else and see that, and they might want to come to me and see what's going on in my region. So it would be nice just to get together and share stuff, and that's what the whole purpose of this show is for. So yeah, but for those who don't know you, right, Pete, can you just say a little about yourself and where you are?
So we are in Orca, which is in Fundão, which is in the Castelo Branco region, and we've been here about 4 years now, so it's gone by really, really quickly. And I have to say, there's loads of stuff going on all the time, and half of the stuff I didn't discover until I was here for 2 years, 3 years, and it's amazing for the small amount of people that are in our region, how many events they do, to be honest. Okay, and they're thick traditions that in lots of ways will die out unless not just Portuguese but estrangeiros kind of support them as well. So I've got to say, Lee's got a really good knowledge, not just of Lisbon, but also of other areas north. Okay, well, a little bit, definitely. I remember going to a certain christening somewhere that wasn't in Lisbon.
Knowledge.
And you've got knowledge of advertise, and Gary, I think you're in a really great position because you've got two places that are both in central Portugal. So it means that you can kind of see the difference between the sort of place we are, which is a small village, which makes it a lot easier for you to kind of get involved. They're much more open to you being involved. I mean, like I just went to I went to a Portuguese lesson with a friend of mine who happens to be the mayor's son, right? Yeah, and that wouldn't happen if I was living in a big city. Okay, well, the mayor's son's girlfriend. Okay? And like it's just much simpler to get involved. Just like the difference between Alvarado, which isn't massive as a city, and where you're living in the Eagle's Nest is quite big, because you're far more likely to get involved in local events. And I think the communities are extremely welcoming, really very different. I think we had to write an exercise last night in our Portuguese lesson, another one we do, saying what the similarities and differences were between where you came from. So we were in sort of outskirts of London, and where you are now. And it's really difficult to think of anything. The only thing I thought of was the government's both terrible. That's all I can think of. Right? But it's literally that was literally the only similarity I could think of.
Yeah.
They are so different, and maybe it's being somewhere rural, or I think especially it's being in Portugal. There's a real mix of generations. I've been, one of the first things I got invited to was a 6th birthday party. That's not the sort of thing that I'd probably usually be invited to back in London. Okay, it's a real intergenerational mix. It's really lovely, I think, to have. So there you go. Anyway, so that's a little bit about me and Di, and I'll pass you over to introduce our new guests anyway as well. So go on, Gary.
How you doing, Bob? How you doing?
Oh, he's a bit silent.
You need to unmute, mate.
Okay, just got it unmuted. Howdy, good to
Howdy.
be here.
Bob, we're just going around the screen introducing ourselves. I'll just go to Lee next, and then I'll come to you on the next round. Okay?
Okay, no worries.
Lee, many people will know you, some won't, but you are the gardening extraordinaire of the Portuguese country. Tell us a little bit about yourself, mate.
First of all, I'm not a gardener extraordinaire. I did a podcast with Munson during COVID where I got drunk and we talked about gardening. I am nowhere near a gardener extraordinaire. I'm a drunk gardener. Just keep it at that.
You keep the lawns nice. I've seen you work.
Oh yeah, the lawns are lovely, and that's before lunch. After lunch, the line's a bit more wiggly.
Yeah.
I've been in Portugal officially 6 years, unofficially coming and going 10. Married to a Portuguese girl. I live somewhere in between Lisbon and Sintra on the train lines. I've started a business here. I work here. I love Portugal. Hate the weather. Everything else, yeah, nothing. Unlike Pete. Yeah. No, I live in a very working class area. We talk about culture. I live in a very working class area. And a lot of you have met people I hang out with, people I've met while I've been living here. So I'm well versed in the cultural side of Lisbon, let's say. I'm well known around the cafes and restaurants in my area.
As long as you're contributing to the local economy, that's fine.
Most certainly. I pay all my taxes when necessary.
Right. Okay, Bob. Maybe not so many people know you, but we do. We've seen your stylish dress sense and your prowess on the dance floor, and even with a bit of karaoke going on there. So maybe just for people who don't know you, tell us who you are, and where you live, and a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Bob Wenger. I moved with my wife Vivian from Colorado 3 years ago, and we live in Ponte de Lima. We came to Portugal sight unseen. Pretty much a heart calling is the only way we could put it. There were definitely financial reasons, the ability to retire here, on what we had available to us in our retirement, and we enjoy it. We actually came to Portugal listening to Carl Munson on the Good Morning Portugal show, and through that met Vitor Costa with Portugal Door, and Vitor and Maria helped us locate here. We are just now starting to learn Portuguese officially, because the first 2 years we had so much fun traveling across the country that we didn't put the effort into it. So now 3 years in, we're much more used to the sounds. And Vitor's suggestion of listening to training videos at 1.5 speed helps process the northern Portugal speech, because they do talk extremely fast here, even at a loja at the Radio Popular today. The clerk there was talking about it. He says, and now I speak English too fast for the Americans to understand me. But they talk very quickly here. They drop a lot of the vowels and the in-between words. And so we're just now getting into that. So
It's a tough language. It is a tough language to
it's a
learn,
challenge.
but at least you're going for it. You're trying. A
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of people are too scared to, and that's a shame, because you know you'll never get accepted until you at least try.
Oh, yeah.
What a-
And
what a
that's
crap.
There
that-
are two things I do, because I'm always fixing stuff. I had to repair our boiler myself because I couldn't get the landlord to do it. If we wanted heat, I had to do it, and I discovered two things. If I wear my old Colorado work jacket with the reflective stripes on it, it looks like I'm a guy that might know what I'm doing. And then I at least try Portuguese when I get to the hardware store or the heating and cooling facility to buy parts. At least I get a conversation going.
Yeah.
But the jacket helps.
Well, there's a tip. Now, before I go to my next guest, I know that you might want to read this little message there, because guess who's lurking in the background? The man himself.
Oh,
The
he's
man.
not coming. He's not coming on.
He
He's
is.
behind you.
Block
yeah,
him.
He's always there. He's casting a watchful eye and watching me suffer, because he knows all about
Yeah,
this and how difficult it is. All the
Suffer in
difficult.
silence.
So yes, without ado, bring on the next guest, who is my brother. Tell us about yourself, Terence.
Where is he? Oh, it's me.
That's you. Yes.
Tell me. Oh God, where do I start? Give me a clue.
Well,
All right,
start
let's
at the
work.
start. At the
Start
start
at the
normally.
start. Oh, to begin in the beginning. I've been here for 18 years now. Recently, on the 14th, I was here for 18 years. That was the anniversary. Bit of a life change. Packed up with 7 suitcases, 2 kids, a wife. Wanting to go on the old sort of European tour with work our way through Portugal, go to Spain, France, Italy, and perhaps even Greece. Got to San Martino and quite liked it. Spent a week or so there, rented a house for a month, and then we just kind of stayed there for a couple of years. And then we bought a house. And then basically, I've been living in Portugal for 18 years, never really wanted to go anywhere else. So I've been reflecting over ever since the 14th and the anniversary about all the sorts of experiences and fun that I've had here. And I don't think personally I would have had it any other way. It's been a wonderful experience. It's been great to see my kids grow up. I've been so fortunate to be able to be around when my kids have been growing up. So I've enjoyed that immensely. We've had challenges, language, like Bob was mentioning there, you can't always get like people to fix your boiler and all that. So you have to be fairly multi-skilled and self-reliant. But I think that's important ingredient for the people that move here, is that they do have to be a bit self-reliant and a bit sort of can grunt it out a little bit, when things aren't always going right. So really, I've had a great time. I've managed to pursue my artistic career as much as I wanted. I'm still making videos because I used to have a production company when I was back in the UK, and I still love doing that. I still love writing, and I'm lucky enough to live with my brother up in Alviasra, and we have a right old giggle, don't we?
Oh, we do.
Yeah,
Do.
we have.
Life is good. Life is fun.
Life is good. Life is fun, and I tell you what, it's been it's like just raising to a crescendo. I'm thinking now, sort of, because I'm 63 now. I know you could. No. We thought you were 21, 22, right? It's easy. Look at Lee. And coming to these years now, I just want to make this a kind of autumn, sort of golden period, if you want. Don't want to be overly romantic here, of enjoying myself, and it's still enjoyable. I still love it here. I get up every day, and I got stuff to do, and all in all, what a great experience for myself, and just enjoying it.
Well, that's a great place for me to come back in again, right? And it's getting out there and finding those experiences, right? And I'm just going to put a little picture up here if I can. Don't know whether it will come up.
Gary,
There we go.
Are you going to introduce yourself, Gary? There might be some people watching this don't know who you are.
I will in a minute. Right now, this is where it all started for me. This program. This was the Castanera de Pera Beer Festival, and it was one of those occasions. It's not big. It's not flash. But it's just something special about it, right? And this is what I want you guys to discover. You may have, sort of had this sort of thing in your own region of where you are, but this got my mind thinking. We should advertise and share these events a bit more. And this is where it all started. You might see a few faces there that you recognise and some that you don't. But that is for me where it started. Now, for me, I've been here now 5 years just gone by. I moved straight here to Alvaiazra, which is more or less central Portugal. Very few people speak English out here, but that was done by design because I wanted to learn how to speak Portuguese. And if I went somewhere, where it was, people do speak English, it was going to be easy. So I would never try. My Portuguese is still very poor, but I get there. From one way or another, I will get there. But when you go to these little places like the beer festival and stuff, that you have to use them. You have to use these little skills that you've got. Now, from that, I thought to myself, let's explore a bit more. And then I had this crazy idea of buying this other little property, and Peter's seen it, which is a bit crazy. It's a bit Marmite. You're either going to like it or you're not. But it's in a place called Val do Souto, which is in between Ceuta and Oleiros. And I always call it the mountain retreat because that's kind of what it looks like. Very different to Alvaiazra. Literally, hardly anybody speaks Portuguese at all. But they have little festivals and little things that go on. And I'm kind of transfixed by them because they have a very much more relaxed and sort of connected life. And I like that. Now, if you just give me a little bit of time here, I'm going to put you a couple of videos up so you can see what I mean. There was it was put up on posters, the Arruada. I thought, what is this? What is this? Arruada Rota de Adega. Adega, I know, is where you have the wine. So I thought that sounds very me, doesn't it? So I'm just going to try and find a little video to put up and watch. Because what happens on this is that you go to a little place like this. You have a lovely meal, a 3-course meal. It might cost you about €12, but the wine is free. You keep going, you drink as much as you like, but my advice is don't, because what comes next is a revelation. So you have your meal, and the guys are in there with the accordions playing all the time, and it's a lovely atmosphere, and you can see me and Linda on the back wall there, right? And then, without warning, they just suddenly kind of get up and march off into the town. So if I just let me find the video, this is kind of what happens. So what then right, that's like the rousing call to like get everybody together, and then you set off into the town. And I thought it had finished by this time. I was ready to go home. So another little one there. Now, at this point, I thought to myself, what's going on here? It is a bit strange. I thought, bit of music, bit of food, we go home. What happens is you set off into the town, invade everybody's adegas, and there's food and there's wine free flowing, and there are many adegas, so it kind of lasts all day and well into the night. Later on, people come in fancy dress and do all manner of strange things. But I just thought how wonderful this was. But what really made me realize something is how the young people get involved and the range of ages. It seemed everybody in this place knows how to play an accordion, and that was lovely. And everybody's having a great time and drinking. There was no trouble, but a really nice little event. It just wouldn't work in a big city because obviously you'd either be destroyed by the end of the night or you'd just take for months and months to get round. But it's one of those lovely things you've got to try. It really is nice. Some of the wine is okay. Some of the wine is really good. Some of it wakes you up a bit. But it's a good mix. It's a good mix of things. So just thought I'd show you that, just to give you a taste of what you might come across in other regions. And I'm totally open to any region, whether it be north, south, east, or west, to put things out there, share it on this program, talk about it, talk about events, music, sport, whatever. Yeah, bring it here. Let's talk about it. Let's share it because we might want to come. We might
Couple
want
of
to come.
small tips, Gary. One of the things that the problems is that even if things are advertised, sometimes it's really difficult to work out what the price is because they don't never put a price on a poster. So they'll always put like say it's something really controversial like hunting, they'll put 15 bullets each instead of 15 euros, or they'll put, so you have to look out for the number on the poster and that tells you how much it is. And it's a lot of the time you have to try and probably investigate your local area. Most areas have like Facebook pages, so it's just the same as you posted up with your one. If you get onto that, then you can find out an awful lot more. But it's also just great to have a Portuguese friend, and this I think will be a great serve the community really well as well. But it's just weird how little these wonderful events that you talked about are advertised, and where you might find them are things like by the cash point is usually a good one where you'll usually see like little posters up there, but you sometimes have to do a bit of research to find them. And even when they're on, there's a brilliant soup festival we go to, and one year it had no signage at all, and the next year it had an arrow, right? That was it. That was the only you should know that this bloody event is on, right? So it is a matter of word of mouth as well. I think you're doing a great service by kind of providing a bit of that. I think it's fab.
The festival in Amiens where we had the baby's birthday party. The festival we went to 4 weeks ago. It's not advertised outside of the village. And it's genuinely 3 days of partying with this massive underground car park turned into a concert hall with all night music, and I mean all night. It starts at midnight, and it goes on into the wee hours of the next day, with brass bands up and down the street all day, religious symbols being carried down the street, and a firework display that would be unaffordable anywhere else. And the tickets are a fiver a piece. But the people in the local village do a raffle all year round to pay for it. So, if you don't know it's going to happen, you wouldn't know. If you didn't live in the village, you wouldn't know. And I've been to the village in, let's say, October, and it's dead. The streets are empty. There's a few old men knocking around. Half the shops are closed. But for the occasions, for the festas, people coming from all over the country because they have not holiday homes. It's not a holiday home. It's a traditional family home.
Yeah.
And all the family come back just for the week. And then you got families meeting families who might see each other 2-3 times a year, but grew up together. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic occasion.
It's very different from the big festivals you normally see in like larger towns or cities. It's far more sort of intimate sort of thing, isn't it? You suddenly realise there's a different level.
Oh, but there's a big competition.
I don't know. Yeah, the ones in the city are obviously now more tourist attractions.
Yeah.
And they're kind of fake. The one in Amiens, where we went recently, I've been going for 5 years on the bounce now. And now strangers shouting Englishmen at me and waving at me and buying me a beer because I'm getting recognised and I've got a Portuguese baby. And that always goes down well. And then when they realise I still don't speak Portuguese, they look at me with disgust. But it's a great weekend. And like you said, no trouble. Nobody's out to create any problems because it's all family orientated. How was it?
Leave out with any festa at 2-3 in the morning. Could you do that anywhere else?
I was just about to say the same. Although Eve was in bed by midnight because we had the mother-in-law with us. But we were in the underground car park at like 4 a.m. and there's a woman pushing a buggy around and no one bat an eyelid.
It's awesome.
It was like, oh, she'll sleep tomorrow. It'll be fine. It happens once a year.
It's
brilliant.
Mm.
So, going back to Bob, is there anything sort of like you've been to around your area in the north there that you can remember that is good?
Oh, all the time. Ponta de Lima is actually an equestrian center, and I chuckled the first year they had their international horse competition because it was Spain and Portugal basically represented, and that was the international. But we've been to horse events up here that included horses coming from Colombia and United States and all over Europe, from Eastern Europe. So the horse culture is very, very strong here. But
there's a dressage competition in Ponta Lima.
There is dressage. There's usually dressage, hunter jumper competitions, and there are also working horse competitions.
There's one in September that qualifies for the Olympics. So it's one of the, I think there's 12 qualifiers around the world for the Olympics, and one of them is in Ponta Lima in September. Okay, and that's meant to be fantastic.
Yeah. It will be. And we you just walk in and sit down on the earthen, concrete block and then earth bank bleachers. We've never paid for any of those yet. We just had the kickoff of the 900th anniversary of Ponta de Lima. Queen Teresa granted the first official, kingdom charter 900 years ago this year. And to the point of trying to figure out where things are, even with the Facebook page and the notices page on Facebook and community talk and trying to figure things out, we couldn't find a clear schedule of what was happening when and where. It's a cultural thing. And then here's a 900-year celebration, and we couldn't find a good schedule anywhere. But they had a concert here that had thousands upon thousands of people standing on the grass or on the sand lot, we call it, the gravel parking out by the river. And it went on till the wee hours of the morning. It was a well-known group. I'm not that much into music, so I can't tell you who they are. But it was raining. I mean, raining. And that parking lot was chock full of people. So it's there are a lot of events here. Férias Novas is the second weekend in September every year, and that's been running several hundred years. It's called the New Fair, but it's been running for several hundred years, and it has everything. It's like I grew up in Iowa. The Iowa State Fair was amazing. And it's kind of like that feel. It has equipment, it has livestock, it has shows, it has performers, and it has crowds of people. We live a kilometer from downtown, where it's village the whole way. And it's best if we walk in, because you just, by the time we get 2 blocks from here, we're running into parked cars. So, but they run it so efficiently, and they clean it up every night. It's an incredible environment. It really is.
Well, that is a great point there. And, we on this show, we tend to want to now, in my focus, get to know these things. So if any of you guys know of anything going on, right, please send them, please post them. If anybody is watching, knowing anything going on, whether it be festivals, whether it be sporting events, whether it be a good local restaurant, all those sort of things really help. Because if you're in an area and you're listening, "Oh, I've never been there before." For instance, we know a really, really good curry place in Tamar, right? And hopefully we can get round to doing a bit of work with them and doing a video. I've also recently been talking to a guy in Tamar who is starting to brew his own beer, which is a lovely combination, really, because it's quite close together. So hopefully I can get them on the show and I can tell you what they're doing, where they are, and what's going to happen. And that's the sort of thing we do, because I want to also help local businesses, because I like doing things local. That's what it's all about, isn't it? So I'll throw a few of those in there. Terence is looking for.
Yes, I'm looking for my power lead.
Okay, you're looking. The old microphone's rumbling.
No, I tell you what, right? Listening to you guys, you're coming up with some great things, and what struck me is listening to you all, and it's reminded me of the things, especially about advertising and stumbling across events or places which you had no previous knowledge of. It's like an accidental tourist type situation. I mean, for me, it was like Obidosh, which I always call it the town that time forgot. And it's like that. It's like going back in time. It's a wonderful place. It's like a medieval, not a medieval, sort of late medieval dwelling, but it's more 1700s than anything. And it's a walled city with a great history, great romantic history, which I knew nothing about. And I was just driving on the A8 one day, and I looked over at this hill town, which is near the motorway, and I thought, that looks nice. I'll go over and have a look at that. And the things that go on there, you wouldn't believe. It's like got an international chocolate festival. There's Villa Natal, which is a Christmas sort of event, where you get all these stalls and, they do fake snow and all of that kind of business. And it's really quite big within the castle. And
I've been to the chocolate festival there in Obidosh. We've done that. Yeah.
They do a medieval festival there as well.
Medieval
We've been to that as well.
Yeah. Well, which my son took part in. I mean, recently, probably last year, he was doing some medieval fighting. He had his teeth knocked out, and it came with a scar on the top of his eyebrow. But I mean, what incredible history and incredible culture! But they never you stumble across it. You never see it.
And a lot of it is free. That's the most amazing thing. A lot of the festivals are all free.
Do we have an advertisement for Ben's meal that's coming up in April?
Oh, yeah,
that's the kind of thing. That's that kind of thing we should tell people about. Because young Ben's putting on an event, a Sunday event.
You beat me to
Coimbra on the plates. That's what.
Well, no, just with him mentioning Ben, I just thought that's the kind of thing that I'm taking Sandra to. And Sandra's she's Portuguese, and she's looking forward to the train ride up, meeting people, trying the wine, trying the food. Because, as you know,
seeing Coimbra.
Sandra's very Lisbon based. So whenever we go anywhere, we have to try the local cheese. We've got to buy the local cheese. It cost me a fortune buying local cheeses. But yeah, young Ben's doing something. Good on him. He's not making effort. He fucking lives here.
Yeah, well,
it's more Portuguese than Eve is.
He's got a big interest, obviously, because he's finished culinary school, etc. And he's got a big interest in food and wine. And I think that comes out. He's actually cooked us a meal tonight. It was a simple steak, but I mean, the different ways he can cook steaks is sort of nobody's busy. So it's a big education for me. But no, this Coimbra on a plate should be good because it's all regional based food. Foods that are kind of like you can get in the Coimbra area, and I think that's nice to give a flavour of sort of places. And I was going to go and mention another thing that I kind of stumbled across was this New Year's Eve.
Sorry,
Was the what happened there?
Gary,
There's New Year's Eve.
calm down.
press the wrong thing.
Yeah, New Year's Eve in San Martino. What a fantastic firework display. I mean, really, I've never seen fireworks of the like, and the reflections off the bay, because it's the old shell-shaped bay, and there's like thousands of people that turn up for it, and they kind of all just arrive at the same time. I can never work this out. It's kind of 10 o'clock and the thing gets going. And you seriously, you can party all night there. And it's truly spectacular, and what a family event. And you really know you're living, and what a great way to open up the year, surrounded by all your friends and a feeling of security, and you don't feel out of place. All right, you're a foreigner, you're accepted. Bands there, all sorts of events, food. It's just fab. And then, you get things like also the Sardine Festival. I love Portugal for all the little, like every village has like its own specialized festival. Like with you up in Alviasra, Gaz, it's the Shisharu bean, isn't it?
The lupin bean, yes.
The lupin bean, yeah. And it's a festival all about beads. It's just an excuse, really. It's just an excuse to get together and have a party. But every village has a bit of a dedicated festa, and that's great because you can go and do a tour of festas and all summer long. Really, there's always something going on. There's always something.
There's always something going on. That's quite true.
When I joined the Festa committee, I thought, oh, it'll just be the summer, right? Just the 5-day festa they have then. Yeah, I thought no problem at all. All I've got to do is just prepare for that, right? Every fucking 3 weeks, sorry, pardon my French. Every 3 weeks, right? There is something on, right, which is awesome. It's really, really good. But I have no idea how much commitment it was all year.
Tractor parade coming up.
Yeah, I've got a tractor. I've got to decorate my tractor, which is going to be great.
Oh
fun.
no!
A Tourette's parade.
No.
You're swearing, Pete. You've got a Tourette's parade.
Eat on a tractor.
Oh, it'll be awesome.
Oh no!
Really and I learned something else as well. This is
You need a piles cushion for your tractor.
Right, do you know the other meaning for trattor as well? Here, Lee, have you got any idea?
Meaning for what?
Side. What do you think? What else do you think trattor means? Tractor, like what?
Trattor.
Peter, you know I don't speak any Portuguese. I've been here for 10 years. I refuse to learn.
Well, you like
unlike you lot who take classes and make an effort, I don't have to because I'm good looking, and I know I say beer and food. That's all I need to know. And I've got Google Lens on my phone.
Well, trattor, you wouldn't get this on Google Lens, also means a not so beautiful woman, right? So it can mean both. So when you're doing a parade, you have to be careful that you specify which one. But either would be fine.
Point.
What I learned very quickly was when you order an ice cream, you either get it in a tub or a cone. You've got to be very careful what you say if you want it in the cone.
Yeah, and don't take the corner too quickly.
Yes.
No, run this one by me again, right, with the cone thing. Because a cone is a con, isn't it?
Well, we've got to be careful with that one.
What
you get
are
it
you
wrong.
alluding
No, I'm not even going there. We're going to leave that one rapidly. I'm going to leave that rapidly. I've got to go to this comment.
I go to the cafe on the street, and the guys predominantly speak fairly good English. But when they've had a few beers, they'll start speaking Portuguese and ignore me. And then at some point, they'll all stop, look at me, and the only words they ever want to explain are the swear words. They don't feel the need to explain everything else. They just want to tell me the swear words. So I can swear fluently. I can swear fluently in Portuguese.
I'm just going to go to this comment here, right? Because this is exactly the sort of thing that we want to know about. This is, where were you? You should have told us. Some of us could have been there because most of us like Guinness. I mean, it's a lovely drink. So, Mark, next time, let us know. Let us know. Some of us will be there for definite. And that applies to anybody else. And
no, I'm not doing St. Patrick's Days. No, I just flatly refuse.
Is that because you
Like,
can't drink
I
Guinness?
wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it in England. I'm not going to come to Portugal and do it.
Well, whatever.
Exactly.
Right.
It's just. It's a.
That's what
Do you know? Oh, do you know what? Do you know what the event today is in Portugal?
Father's
It's
Day.
Father's Day.
Day.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
Father's Day in Portugal
Father's
today.
Day. Day of the pie.
Yeah, another fake holiday that I disagree with and refuse to take part in.
Yeah, but you're just a grumpy buggy, Lee. Let's be honest.
Right, and on that note, I am heading back to England tomorrow.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, of course. Have a
So
brilliant
my
holiday.
first time in 6 years.
I think Joel has just made a very good comment here. St. Patrick's Day is just a regular day for Lee anyway.
Right, so I am going to bow out early. Gary, it's a great idea for a show. I will join every time I can do.
Okay.
Good luck with the future shows and
Thank you.
good night, everybody. I will join the Man Cave on Friday evening if possible.
Okay.
If not, I'll see you all during the week and I'll send loads of pictures.
Good
Okay,
man.
mate.
You know it
You have
makes
a good
sense.
trip.
Enjoy yourself.
Bye.
Have a good
Have a
night,
good
everybody. Good
Good
night.
night, mate.
Safe
Hasta luego.
trip.
Ciao, ciao.
I got a question, Gary.
Yes, sir.
You said something about posting things here. So where is here? Where would we be listing events coming up and that kind of thing?
You can put them here. Just give me a second if I can find the damn thing. Which is running along the bottom there, the Facebook group. You can put
Oh,
one in
okay.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
Or if you've got me as a friend listed, post it straight to me as a Facebook or WhatsApp or whatever. But I'll give you more details. But wherever you can find me on here is at the bottom is a great place to put it because then everybody else sees it as well.
Okay.
So but I'll open up some more avenues as we go because I have no idea how successful this show will be. It's totally down to you guys out there to make it work. I just got the idea. I need
Oh,
the
that's
material
right.
to come in.
Give us all the responsibility then.
Well, that's what it's about. I'll be
Yeah,
here if you allow
Cheers,
me to be.
Garvo.
Garvo, are you going
Um,
for a full beard at the moment? On your facial
No, I'll
growth?
keep it trimmed. It's got a lot of grey in it now, and
This is the
Which way?
question on everybody's lips.
Exactly.
I'm getting fed up of it now.
It's
Getting fed
deep,
up of
isn't it? Is Garvo going for the full beard or not? We could make a whole program about that.
It's not very cultural though, is it?
Well, I think it is. I
Here's this.
think, let's be honest, who are the more Portuguese looking amongst us? And it's definitely over on the left with the two beards. Beards are very big in Portugal, I tend to find. So I think most people are quite hirsute on the chin
Mhm.
area. So I think you're definitely making a Portuguese cultural effort there. Definitely.
Right now, we mentioned our friend Peter Wilton Davis earlier at the beer festival. Another few things we're going to do is obviously, people are looking for places to live. We show them these lovely places. They come here, and they might want to find somewhere to live. Out of a debt of duty to, this could go horribly wrong because I've never done it before. I'm going to try and show you because he's selling a little place that he's redeveloped. So if I press that and share a screen, hopefully it should come up. There we go. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. This is his house that he's redeveloped and worked on, and it's for rent. It isn't for sale. So this is a gold nugget, really. This is a long-term rental, and those don't come up very often in Portugal.
That's true. That's very true.
And it's where we went to the beer festival, Caixinha de Pera. I'll just show you a few photos just to do him justice. A beautiful place. It is a beautiful place.
Mm.
There's all the little local bits and pieces which are around. So, pretty much in the centre of the village, things going on. And he's done a
And
lovely job.
They got that big resort there too, haven't they, with the wave
That-
machine?
Well, that's the special thing. They have, I think it's the largest inland river beach complex, definitely in Portugal and possibly in Europe, which is
Probably,
crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
Right.
really.
Such an
You could get
attraction.
a couple of families in there, couldn't you? If you wanted to split rents or anything. As you know, with intercommunal living, it's massive, isn't it?
It's a lovely place. Lovely place. So if you're interested in places to live, have a look at that. I'll put the link up in the comments up there, and we'll take that from there. So hopefully somebody might want to have a look at that. Right, where are we now then? that's that out of the way. The beer festival. I went to the beer festival in Coimbra, the Strong Beer Festival as well. Just popped in for a quick look because it sounded interesting, and discovered a bit more about Coimbra. Because as you know, Pete, Coimbra is not an easy place to get to love. It's not an easy place to get to love because you expect it to be all riverfront, all on the riverfront, and it's not. It's further in, and the beer festival was in the actual market. And it's a little bit like the Time Out Market in Lisbon, but a lot smaller and not so busy. But the layout is very much similar. And they had the beer festival on the top floor, and there was some cracking beers there, some really really nice beers. If you're into ales and stuff, I know my brother down there isn't quite so keen. He kind of
I'm not.
prefers, but these are the sort of thing.
In my defence, I do like beer, okay, but only I'm a bit of a bit of a lightweight. I like pale beers. I much prefer the taste to those because the kind of more stronger. Well, all I ever get is a taste of nettles, brewed nettles.
Try white
real
really.
ale. I just don't like it, man.
No, you can go because not all real ale houses now just do real ale. They do IPA. I completely agree. Can be really horrible, right? It's a quick brew and it can sometimes go badly wrong. And temperature is really important when you keep real ale. We have loads of like real ale houses back in London, but there's some white beers now that they're brewing that are really. And
you see, white beers, that sounds a lot better to me. Lighter, white, more fun.
Yeah, more fruity and a bit crisper.
Fruity, yeah, less hoppy, and it's just me. It's just me.
Yeah, it's more like it's a twig and bird in some of the old IPAs that you just want to kind of possibly steer clear of. It depends on how you
Just this comment here is the actual link to that property if anybody's interested in it. So
just got a photo of it.
There's loads more pictures.
I love the idea also about splitting the living accommodation, between a few people.
Yeah.
That because I think that's the way to move in, especially for like what I call the younger generation. But they're not really, are they? Millennials, etc. That's where it's kind of moving towards now. Whereas we've been a bit sort of lucky on the boomer side and all of that. I came in right at the end of boomers, by the way. But we've been lucky, big fat pensions, etc. But what comes afterwards has not been so lucky. So that's a great way of people being able to come to Portugal, experience the life, taste it, and not on a shoestring, but live economically. And it's still possible to do that.
Definitely. Well, you and Gary are good examples of living together with an extended family, which I think is Portugal. I think it's very Portuguese, to be honest.
I thought he was going to go living like paupers.
No, I think it's more about the fact is that in other countries that I've lived in or been in, I still think that one of the wonderful things here is that families get on with each other even if they don't want to. Do you know what I mean? Like they still all get along together. Whereas in big cities, they tend to, if you don't like members of your family, it's pretty easy to ignore them. Whereas here, I think it's very intergenerational, and you do get that lovely mix, as both of you were saying. And I think you've done a great job of integrating because you're Portuguese. I'm still very envious of, and the whole of your family, to be fair. So I think is very admirable there, Terence. Definitely, it's very.
I'll send you that $5.
You see, my wife joined me at the beer festival, and there was the pumpkin beer, which sounds absolutely disgusting, doesn't it? But it was really nice. It was really quite nice. It really was nice. I do have some video of that, but I just didn't load it in case everything I can try. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll try and find it.
Well, while you're loading that, you're talking about families being together and everything. I found out, at least here in the north, that most of the lawsuits are between family members.
Oh, God, yeah.
Just
that keeps them together for even longer, though, Bob, doesn't it? Because you've got a long-running, like 30-year kind of bleak house dispute going on with most families somewhere.
Oh yeah. It's incredible. A good friend had started to build a little addition onto his property, and it was his family that sued him about it encroaching on a property line or something like that. And it was, you know,
I'm amazed that it actually went that far, because when it comes to the point of court, because things move so slowly here, and cost, that's another thing they don't like. There's a lot of verbals that go, you know, in between families and all that, but when it actually comes to the practicality of sticking money down for lawyers and pushing forward with lawsuits, etc., there's a lot of reticence.
Yeah, there is, but I guess they do it.
It's also really good to get a good contract lawyer when you're buying anything out here, especially in terms of property, just because of what Bob was saying, because a lot of properties may well be in family dispute that you're unaware of when you're purchasing. Unless you've got a good lawyer who's actually going to write you in a really good contract. I mean, God, our
make
lawyer,
sure there's no debts.
our lawyer saved us probably about 30 grand, I reckon, just by employing him. So it is worth getting someone that's decent, but to get someone that's decent, you want someone that's connected, and to get someone that's connected, you need local connections. So it's kind of it's tricky, because there's a lot of lawyers in Portugal. So try to get one, choose the one that
you're
knows.
right. I mean, I respect exactly what you say about, like, we're into the video here.
Go on,
but when I load it, I don't know why, but when I load it, it plays straight away. It just plays straight away. I don't know why. So
do you just want to go into it then?
No, I'll let you finish what you're saying.
I'm just going to say to Pete, loved what he said about, you know, family connections and all that. But I've actually now thinking the reverse, because if you go to like these one-horse towns, right, and little villages, etc., and you think, well, I'll use a local lawyer, right, sort out a boundary dispute. What you don't realize is the firm family connections, the inter-family connections in that town, and it spreads to lawyers as well. So, for instance, if you have you're going to buy a property and it borders, I don't know, for instance, onto 4 or 5 different families, the lawyers quite often don't want to upset the indigenous population because of family connections. So you've got to be careful and think, you know, who does this guy know? Because you may not be getting what we call the full SP, the full force of the situation. So it may well be a better course of action to actually get a lawyer from outside of the area. All right, you lose on those connections things and all of that, but you gain in not being tainted by this kind of like family structure. You know, because in a village there can make 2-3 families, which it's almost like Italy, you know, that run everything.
Well, I agree with you to an extent. I'd say politics does play a big part in things. The lawyer we had used to be mayor of one of the local regions, like here. So they were reasonably connected and knew who the other lawyers were and what they were dealing with. I agree. You have to be really careful that you're not treading on people's toes, but you're going to. I think there is a natural Portuguese thing of neighbours, perhaps as lovely as the Portuguese are, of testing out what your neighbours are like and what you can get away with. That happens quite often. You know, well, I think virtually everyone does. I don't think that's uncommon, and it's something that's uncommon or unfamiliar, perhaps, to people moving from somewhere else, from the States or from the UK. So I completely agree with you. I think ultimately information is power, and the more information you get, the better. But that's a good argument for doing something like renting his place, renting the Peter's, just because it means that you've got that opportunity to study everything for a little bit.
I think that's important.
It's like walking tightrope on all that legal stuff, you know, local versus distant. You don't want to tick off the people that you plan to be living beside and all that. It's a tightrope. It's a challenge.
So I love that thing. It was Andiro, nearly 25 years dividing up the wife's late granddad's properties, no end in sight. The other thing that you know, I think estrangeiros, foreigners, face is that they can walk into a complete snare of a situation where the property is owned by 8 members of family. Yes. Now, when you get 8 members of a family, what you've got to understand is they all want a cut of something, you know, and that drives the price up to unnatural levels sometimes. And it does get a little bit stupid when you get very unrealistic pricing of property which shouldn't really happen. So take your point, Pete. Again, you know, a good lawyer will advise you and say, look, are you sure? You know, and also a good estate agent, you know, somebody that knows the lay of the land, knows the local sort of rules and regulations, but you know, you can trust them. Hard to find, not, you know, because estate agents by nature want to sell property.
Yeah,
So
they'll say anything to get a sale sometimes, won't they?
Yeah. So finding someone that's trustworthy is
Yeah.
really tricky.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. That's a service that we can all help with, because we didn't buy from an estate agent. We didn't use an estate agent at all in any of the process, because I suppose naturally from London, I distrust all estate agents completely. But
I do get a bad rap. I mean, let's be honest.
sometimes fair though.
Yeah, sometimes fair, more frequently fair.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we've crossed the hour. We've actually made the hour.
Woo-hoo!
I've been quickly. That was good.
Thank you very much for all your help.
You're
Joining
very
the little
welcome.
project. You're more than welcome to join me on the next one. When that will be, if it's a week, we'll see it's a week. Let's see how many people had a look. Let's see who's interested. But like I say, it's all down to you guys, not just the people on the screen, but the people who are listening. A show like this depends on you talking to us talking to you, and us sharing. That's what it's all about. And that's what the lovely thing about Portugal is. They always get those simple things just so right.
Definitely. Joel's got a really good festa that he should put up. I can see quite a few people on the screen that I think should be contributing as well. So it'd be lovely to have more events go up as well. I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Well, my plans in the if you know, in the coming programs is a few more videos, a few more guests, a few people telling us about where they live, what they do, if they've got some sort of service or whatever. Yeah, come ye all. We'll listen to you. It's all part of the great fabric of the way we live, isn't it? So yes, please, anybody out there, come on in, Portuguese or not. We've got some Portuguese speakers here as well who can help you along the way. You're all welcome. This is exactly what the program is about.
Yeah, I think you've done a great job there. And it's wonderful how Carl Munson hasn't managed to intercept and interrupt. Have you noticed that? He's stopped bloody chipping in, hasn't he?
It's gone very quiet.
You must have done a good job there, bro.
Well, you've only realised when you're doing it from this side how difficult his job must be.
Yeah.
But
No.
I've only got basic StreamYard here, so he's a craftsman in what he does. I can see that.
Oh, you've done a great job, Barry. Well done, mate. And
Yeah,
I love
well done.
Talk of the devil. Talk of the devil. Here he is.
He woke up.
He's hovering.
So I'll wrap
Great.
up here. I think I'll wrap up here and let you all get back to your business. Stay safe, batten everything down, and we're in for a rough night. So
It's not bad here.
no,
It's not.
Oh,
No,
famous
we're
last
far
words.
enough north. Yeah, it's,
Yeah, it has been. I don't know if it is now, but it has been very windy.
Yeah.
no, we're getting gusts up to 65 instead of steady winds at 65. So yeah, it's not been bad up here at all. So
No,
we'll see what the night
all right.
brings.
It's been all right here. I'm on the coast at the moment.
Yeah,
you should be getting battered.
I always think that lull before the storm, the worst thing you can say.
could be.
I didn't live that far away from Michael Fish when he said, "Oh, it's not going to be a storm
Yeah.
at all." So I still remember
Some people are writing in and say we've got a hurricane.
Yeah.
He didn't live that down. I used to get the train, and every day someone would bloody mention that to him. So can you imagine going through like a
Poor guy.
decade of people
Poor
going
guy.
through? So Bob, you probably don't know this, but one of our weathermen in England said that there wasn't going to be a storm, and it made Sevenoaks become One Oak. This storm,
Yeah.
It basically
So much
destroyed-
damage.
It was a hurricane. It was a hurricane.
Greenhouse and all the fencing.
Yeah,
Well,
I
we-
remember that storm. I was out in it. that day. When we see it was horrendous.
yeah.
It literally blew me off my feet.
Yeah.
I was worried the
we
windows.
moved from Colorado. We moved from the mountains of Colorado, and every year our valley would have 120 mile per hour straight line winds
Wow, that's fast.
every year.
that is pretty good.
So one year there were some guys, some contractors got careless with not using what are called hurricane ties that tie the rafters down on the perimeter, and entire roofs gone.
Wow.
Yeah. So
So you're
I
well
have
used to it then.
I have yet to see a windy day here. I drove semi in that, and in my training, when I was first getting my semi license, we got stopped on a pass outside of Denver, and the policeman came up to us after the road was cleared. And this is my first training trip with tractor trailer rig. I'd driven straight trucks and driven equipment all my life. And he says, well, the road is open now. We cleared the turned over semi, and it turned over from the wind. The wind is laid down a bit now. And so we're like, my instructor and me, I'm driving. Do we go? Do we not? He said, travel at your own risk. So the instructor said, I'm good if you're good. So we took off. And I'm asking him as I'm heading down the pass toward where the wind got really straight line. I said, so how do I know when it's really too bad? Well, if you see any daylight under the trailer tire on the upwind side, you know you got a problem.
Wow.
So it's like, okay,
Wow.
we made it.
So if you've got any problems, with the wind, see Bob. Okay. And with that, ladies, I'm going to end the live stream now. If you want to stop about and have a bit of a chat afterwards, that's fine. But thank you, everybody on screen
Okay.
and off screen, for all your comments.
Thank
There's
you.
been loads and loads of comments, which I haven't been able to keep up with. But yeah, I'm happy with that. So thank you very much, and hope to see you again.
Great.
Bye.
Ciao. Thank you.
Oh, lovely.
And